Welcome, dirty peasants, to the Wartwood Gazette, the Amphibia podcast. Today, this is episode 62, and today we'll be discussing season 2, episode 12, uh, The Shut-In. And with me today, we have Pickle.
Hey.
And Nick.
What's up, y'all?
So before we get into the episode, kind of just like general news for this week. I didn't mention this last week, but all of Amphibia is now on. The last few episodes of season 3 finally just came out on Disney Plus. And Matt made this little, really just beautiful artwork of like Amphibia, the complete series, and that was just great. It was beautiful artwork in general, and it's great to have kind of the entire series up on Disney Plus. So, and yeah, and like just from a personal perspective too, like for any of you who's listening to the podcast now, like I would recommend if you're trying to introduce someone new to the show, my minimum, like if they're trying to binge it, I always recommend watching at minimum like 3 to 5 episodes like a day. You don't want to watch like too much, but like I recommend up to 5 because that's when usually Amphibia's arcs end, is at 5 episodes. Mainly seasons 2 and 3 have like 5-episode arcs, then it jumps to the next one. So if you're binging the show, if you want a friend to binge the show, I recommend doing something like that. Don't tell them, like, you can do whatever you want, of course. I'm not telling you to do anything, but that's my recommendation. So I guess other news for this week, Matt was giving out posters at the Anime Expo, signed posters of the all-in one, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, that was kind of promoting the Marcy Journal, so he kind of posted that out on Twitter and stuff. So, and that's pretty much it. I think, like, from Matt's side anyway. And TJ Hill, the composer for the show for Amphibia and the Owl House, I think, yeah, I'm not sure if TJ Hill is still on the Owl House. I think he is, right?
No, he was just on for season 1, I think.
Gotcha. Okay, because I knew it was something about something with him not being on the show for like the whole time. So, but he's been posting like a bunch of excerpts of the soundtrack for many episodes. And this week he posted some excerpts from like New Normal, Fort in the Road, and Handy Ann this week. So if you guys want to check those out, like, yeah, like there you go. So they're all on his YouTube channel. You can just look it up. And he posted some of his stuff on like his links and stuff to it on Twitter too. So like, yeah, and that's pretty much it for news this week. And I think we can finally start getting into the Shut-In, our spooky Halloween episode. So like for episode, so before I even get to the episode summary, just like little preference, because this episode's pretty unique compared to a lot of episodes of the show, in the sense of that this episode is non-canon in the sense of like it's an evergreen episode, so it always has value no matter when you watch it. So it's pretty much non-canon. It doesn't really affect the story in any way. And we're talking about this episode now because it aired not right after. It aired in October. I think like October 7th, I'm pretty sure. 17th, there we go. So right around Halloween, the Halloween special. So it kind of came in kind of randomly and then just kind of like while the show was on hiatus. So yeah, this episode's an evergreen episode. But continuity wise, it's supposed to be after Return to Wartwood. So yeah. So getting to the episode summary here. This episode has Anne and the Planters are kind of preparing for the Shut-In. And they're getting all kinds of supplies prepared for it, nails, a hatchet, a flamethrower, all that stuff. And naturally, Anne is starting to notice the similarities between this holiday and like, not holiday, That's what the planters keep saying, that it's not a holiday. And Halloween. But the shut-in is essentially a day where everyone kind of stays inside, keeps their doors shut, tells spooky stories, and don't look up at the blue moon at night. So, and apparently bad things will happen to you if you do. So, and the planters kind of stay shut in for the whole episode, and they tell all these scary stories. Each of the family does it. Anne tells her story of phone mo. Hop Pop tells his story of dead end. Sprig's story of skin deep, and Polly's trying to think of a story, but she can't think of anything original anyway. And the episode sort of ends with Polly. She goes outside, looked at the moon for too long, and it seems like nothing happened, but she ends up growing to be like this were frog kind of thing. And she starts messing up the house, and you get to see all the monsters from all the stories, and then the episode ends from there. And yeah, it's a very that's the shut-in. So I guess to get into general thoughts for the whole episode, Pickle, what did you think of this episode? Just general thoughts.
This episode's a good one and a fun one. It's very cartoony and like it's not an essential episode. Like if you're just trying to watch it to find like the important bits or like to progress the plot, it's totally non-canon according to Matt himself. But it's just a really fun episode to watch because there's just we get to see all the characters, the planners tell silly stories to each other, and specifically the Ivy and Sprig one. That one was like I don't quite remember it. Apparently, it was based off of. He said on like a sit down. Matt Braley said on like a sit down and think podcast that it was based on an actual like horror piece that he'd really liked, or someone in the crew. And I think that story is probably my favorite out of them.
Oh no, I know what you mean. I think it was like I think it was just one. I think the seamstress story was based on this one horror story of like with like this old lady and cats, where her body was made out of cats, I think, and like and there's like I haven't checked it out myself, but there is like a very similar like I think I've heard there's a very similar moment where like they sort of unveil their body just like the seamstress did, and it's just this horrific display of like the different cat bodies making up their own. Like I heard it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah. I think we'll go like what we're gonna do is kind of like go through each episode in detail. So like you guys can give like your general thoughts on like each one kind of thing. So like each thing is gonna be like its own episode. So like I like how we handle the episodes where like I give a summary of the story and then or Dumbwood anyway. And then
Yeah.
like yeah, so that's it. But
Did we
Nick,
do
what are
like?
your general Pickle, you can go.
Oh, I'm just gonna put it in the chat because it's not super important to the podcast.
Gotcha. Nick, what were your kind of general thoughts of the shut-in?
I mean, I loved it. Like, I like it's. I feel like it's easily one of them to be as funniest. Like, yeah, easily one of these funniest episodes. Like, just Polly and Ant's interactions are just on point. The way they just get frustrated with each other over the dumbest things, and then like all the different stories. Like, they all have like their own really funny moments. And I think yeah, I'll go to them deeper later, but yeah, like this is just a really really fun Halloween special. I feel like it's not as scary as like other Halloween specials you'd see from like say like regular show or something, but like with this, I do think I guess that's scary, but you know what I mean. Like it's not like scary. Like it doesn't really give you that edge, but like what I do enjoy from this is just man, I don't know, man. The planter vibes in this episode were really strong. Like it was just really cozy. Like right, and I know the fact that I know it's because I'm there by a fire, but like yeah, it's just I'm just saying though, it's just funny how this is a Halloween special, and yet like these are some of the best planter moments we've ever got on another series. Like them just sitting by the fire and just talking to one another, sharing stories. Like that's super sweet.
Thank you, Nick. And like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I like this episode is weird for me because like when watching the show, I was kind of just like, oh, that was an interesting episode. That's kind of weird. I didn't really fit in. Anyways, because
Yeah,
again,
no,
I'm streaming the episodes. I'm like, oh, that was cool. Okay.
yeah, I totally get you because I was like, yeah, because I feel like I didn't really truly appreciate this episode until I started rewatching it. But yeah, I feel like my first watch, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like because I didn't really know what to expect from it. I feel like I was just, you know, I
I
don't want
feel
to talk
you.
too long, but like because I feel like I'm already talking for too long here. But like, yeah, like I first time I saw it, I was just like, oh yeah, this is okay because like I thought I'd expect it to be more scary, and I guess I didn't really appreciate it for what it was until I checked it out again.
I feel you. I think like for me, yeah, it was like because the shut in was like, yeah, it kind of came in when I was watching it and then left my head. Because again, I'm binging the show, so like it just feels like a random. Like I know it's a Halloween episode, but like it's very weird. I first
Yeah,
watched it. I didn't even like think about it being non-canon. I was just like, oh, that was cool. Okay. Anyways, but like now rewatching this episode, like it's so fun. The jokes in this
yeah,
episode are great. Like the vibe of this episode is so much fun. Like I yeah, the shut in is just. I'll get more detail into it, but like this episode's really fun to just rewatch. Like even like not even for like the holidays for Halloween and stuff. Just like in general, it just has such a good vibe to it. So it's great. So I guess getting into like the bulk here, the main like part of the episode. So we kind of have like oh, one thing I do want to mention is that like the intro's different too. There's like there isn't any, there's like a remix of the original theme, and there's like this Halloween filter, and you got like skeletons and pumpkins like flashing on the screen. It's not like an entirely different intro, you know what I mean? But like it's something, it's cute. I like it. Like so yeah, like that's pretty much it. Like unless you guys have any thoughts on the intro or anything.
I mean, it's not exactly like a really memorable change the intro, but I guess like I don't know, I guess it's just kind of fun. Like there just isn't really much to say.
Yeah, like it's a nice remix. I'll give it that though. Like it is good. Like yeah, but that's pretty much it. Um, so getting to the episode here, this episode was directed by Joe Johnson and Jen Strickland, written by Todd McClintock and Michelle Cabin. By the way, that's the first time they've actually been like a combo for an episode. That never happened before. Usually it's Todd and Adam for 22-minute episodes if Todd's in it or if Adam's in it. So this is the first time we have to get them together. Storyboarded by Alexandra Kwan, Eddie West, Imbal Brenda, and Cassie Ward. Um, and yeah, so yeah, okay. So getting into this episode here, um, the episode first starts off, and the episode's kind of has like Woodward's in the fall now, essentially, which is pretty different from like how we usually saw it either way. Kind of lets you know like this is like different kind of episode. You know what I mean? And we see everyone kind of preparing for the shut in and stuff. And everyone's in costumes too, so really working with that Halloween vibe, and the planters go the sorry. You know what? Like I'm sorry, I lost my thought. That's my apologies. I think I forgot Ivy's mother's name. I forget
Oh,
like it's
Felicia.
Felicia. There we go. My bad. And like they go to her and they get some nails. So Anna's wondering like what the heck are you doing? And Polly explains like yeah, like Sprig explains like where they're doing the shut in, where they're preparing for like the blue moon to come in, and Anne's like explaining like, oh, this is kind of like Halloween, and this whole joke at the like throughout the entire beginning of this episode where like it's not like Anne keeps saying it's a holiday, but like and the planters are like, no, this is like a super serious situation, even though it's clearly just make up Halloween. Like Anne knows the vibes, like she knows it's just Halloween, and the audience knows too. So I love like Polly's little reaction to like them getting candy and stuff, or like if no one, I think Anne kind of explains it like trick or treating, like you get candy if they don't give it to you, you play a trick on them. Polly has like this funny reaction to it, and that's great. And Hot Pop comes in and asks what they got, and you have like this really funny like Polly's like, I got a hatchet, and Sprig's like, I got a first aid kit, and then Anne's like, I got a flamethrower, like
That was a great scene.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, because like it's just
There's this image that's been circulating that's just of Anne using the flamethrower, but she's got this entirely dead expression.
yeah,
Have you
it's
seen
like
that?
no, I know what you're
It's
talking
a
about.
screenshot from the episode.
Yeah,
like
it's like
I just love Paul's reaction when like she when she completely gets topped over on her gift. Like it's just so good.
yeah, like and I love how this like random the upscale is. Like the hatchet, like okay, that's kind of dangerous. A first aid kit, okay, that's reasonable. Like and then a flamethrower, like she says it so casually too. It's it's great. And actually it's Hot Pop who kind of explains what the shut-in is about. Well, at least more so of how dangerous it is, and Anne's like, it's definitely a holiday, guys. Like but like we kind of see like a bit of Wartwood like preparing for the shut-in and stuff. I love the little joke of like the frog like who's trying to hammer in the nails and like he hits his hand and Stumpy is like, oh, I know how that feels.
Yeah, poor Stumpy. Like his breakdown in a Spivey solo's right through my head because like you know what I mean? Like because he's like such a chill and relaxed guy. Like he probably has all this like trauma and like hurt feelings over what happened to him. And then he just unloads it like I'm sorry. That just popped into my head as soon as I saw that scene.
Yeah, like Stumpy is the character I kind of wish we got more of because I feel like every episode he comes in, it's like it's just great. Like he always makes like a great appearance. Like I don't know, like I would have loved to gotten like more Stumpy. I'm glad Spivey gave us that at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was like I'm glad they didn't like forget about him. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but yeah, like every episode he comes in is just great.
And plus like yeah, it's one of the things you don't like. It's one of the things you forget, but yeah, he was like the first Wartwood friend that Anne made besides like the Planters, of course. Like seriously, like she was the like Stumpy of all people there. He was the first one she ever bonded with from Wartwood.
Yeah, and like I won't go on a whole thing about Lily Pad Thai, but like Stumpy's appearance like in that episode is just like it's so pure. I'm not like his actual like talk, but like I don't know, it's just great. But I'll try to continue on with the episode though. But Stumpy's great.
I agree.
And like yeah, and like we see like one of the frogs is carving out a pumpkin, and again, Anne's like it's Halloween. The planters are like, no, it's not. And I don't know, the joke about like the planters getting like right up in Anne's face is I don't know why that joke is so funny. Like I don't know what it is. It's just like I think it's like
It's like they're like pointing out the absurdity of like a gag. It's really funny enough that the planters just got in her face to like warn her about the shut in, and then Anne just points out how they're all just like shoving their face against her. You know what I mean? It just makes it even funnier.
Yeah,
It's something that understandably happens less and less as the show goes on is the planners explaining something horrifying from Amphibia and Anne either having like a really like a really underwhelming response or just being like, oh, how am I supposed to respond to that? Or just like not taking it seriously, which happens less because she gets more things about Amphibia as it goes on and she starts to take it a lot more seriously when things start really getting dangerous. But it's always
yeah.
fun when they've got that sort of gags where, Spring's like, the death-sucking bloodworms will drain a body in seconds, and Anne's like, whoa there, dude, chill out.
Yeah, and like I think like because Amphibia is like this really dangerous place, but like I think Matt like described it like even like the pilot for this show, like the planters were specifically Hot Pot was like was a lot more strict and like anxious about what could happen. You know what I mean? So it's like that's kept in the show, but like not to that extreme, you know. But like it still works with like Anne being this character who's what's the right word like who does not listen to authority. There's more to it than that, but like she's a bad kid when she first starts off. So, but she slowly gets better with time. So yeah. Um, so the planters kind of get back home and like they first like Hop Hop's like they're all kind of sitting around the campfire and they're thinking about like kind of what stories they could tell. Hop Hop says like the stories have to be things that actually happened and like they have to be like really scary. And Polly kind of starts off the episode and has this really funny gag throughout the entire time. She's like explaining like she's explaining like they went to this like inn with cannibals and we all know like and she calls it like an episode title, A Night at the Inn. And the whole time like Polly keeps like mentioning like past episodes that were kind of horror inspired and like she thinks it's its original tale and like Anne and the planters have to be like no but that already happened girl like I don't know like something about that gag is really clever like them just like being able to reference past episodes and stuff is just great.
Yeah, and be more meta about it without breaking the laws of the reality they're in, because it's non-canon.
Yeah, like yeah, it's just great.
Yeah, plus
um,
who doesn't just like who doesn't hate like just a good callback? Because I mean, this episode's just full a lot of them. Like it just it just feels so right for the show to like point back at how it has quite a lot of episodes that are just like horrific in nature and like yeah, I don't know. It's just really like callbacks are awesome, man. Especially when they're done well.
yeah, and like yeah, and I think like so we kind of go like Anne's like, oh, I got my first story, and she calls it phone mo, kind of like FOMO, fear of missing out, and I love that the planters don't get it. Like yeah, like they need them like Anne needs to like explain like the pun and and then yeah, like she just like gets fed up with it and just explains the story. And I'll give like a little summary of it. It won't be like super quick. No, it'll be super quick. But FOMO we have is all about this girl Anna. She goes to this school, St. Joe's School, very different school from St. James, you know. Uh, and she meets up with her friends uh, Twig, Molly, I think Brady. I think I got that. Yeah,
It's
and
the other one's Brody. It's like Toady.
Brody.
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry. And apparently, like this video that Brody has is like, or he's about to show is like super cursed. Twig is like telling Anna, no, like you shouldn't watch that video. Anna still decides to watch it anyway, and the video actually ends up being cursed the whole time. And the while Anna's at her house chilling, talking to Twig, the monster, like in that video, kind of comes out and starts trying to drag Anne back into the phone. She's able to defeat it by constantly disliking the video, and it ends with her defeating it. And Twig and friends don't learn their lesson of like not following the crowd and go to this haunted, um, I think like this haunted burger place, right? They say, and then like the episode ends with like a bunch of like of those little monsters that like that come out of like the boba things or whatever, and then that's phone mo. So um so I guess we can start off with Pickle. What were your kind of like general thoughts of this story?
Solid and pretty funny. It's also where we get the human the human versions of the amphibians, which is kind of a really fun thing. I know it's not as relevant to the episode, but it's always really funny to see how like how these characters, whenever you're in a universe where characters aren't human, how people imagine them as humans. And kind of on that note, it's also the origin of like everyone's confusion about what age Toady is. He is an adult, but like he's shown as a kid. But I guess Polly's also shown as like a teenager when she's only 5. So,
Yeah.
and then it's also just, you know, pretty pretty fun. And it's like, man, I don't know. I don't have that many strong thoughts on this.
Oh,
Or
okay. That's fine.
it's just fun. Yeah.
That's fine. Nick, any like general thoughts on phone mo?
Yeah, I mean, I just thought like I don't know, like yeah, like there isn't like too much to say besides yeah, it's really funny. A lot of fun moments here. I think like good moments to horror at also had like um yeah, I think yeah, honestly yeah, I'm just like Pickle here. Like my favorite part of this segment is just how it it's what gave us the human designs, right? Like it's and like God, they are just great designs too. I just love how everyone looks here, especially like I think it was especially what is her name? Well, not Maddie, but like what did they name it? Like
I think Hattie. I think.
Hat
I think so.
Hattie. Like I love how like I think yeah I think like that's also my favorite part of this story here. Like they they didn't have to think too hard about giving them new names because they could just rely on on and just being a bad storyteller. Like I like that. Like I love that. But yeah, like again, like yeah, not too much to say about this besides it just being like a nice fun opener.
Yeah, and I think that's how I feel about it too. I think like there's actually some parts I have to. I do like seeing like even though this is and making up this story, I like seeing kind of her school life, like or Anna's school life. You know, like in general, it's nice to kind of get that like because we're not technically going to the past, but it's like it's nice to see that kind of part of Anne's life. We don't really get any glimpses of this besides with Sasha and Marcy. So it's kind of cool to have that like a story, like even with made up Amphibia characters, still set on Earth and still set in her school. So that's really cool. And I'll go into more detail about that when we get through the episode. But like, yeah, this episode's fun. It's got a nice horror element to it. And I like the pun of the name. So yeah. So I guess getting into kind of a summary of this episode. Well, not summary. I'm just kind of going through the episode. We first start off with Anne like like Nick, like what you said, like she's not the best storyteller. She's not, super original. But like this story takes place in St. Joe's School, and with this girl Anna, and like she meets up with Twig, Molly, uh, Hattie, and Brody, and like I don't know, I love like the little like fake Polly or Molly has like a bucket on her like foot.
Yeah, and I love how they're still like jumping too when they want to like move over to talk to somebody. Like it's just weird. Like
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's great. I love them keeping the characteristics of these characters in general.
yeah,
Just through the human designs. It's great. Even Maddie's, human with Hattie is I don't know, this like all these designs are just great in general. I love the little toady, like I don't even know what it's called, like not even keychain. Um Not just the toady thing on his phone on Brody's phone. That's great. Um and like yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that like Twig here. You can call them Sprig or whatever, I don't care. um Kind of like because Anne's like not issue in school, but like she was always kind of a person who would always follow the crowd and stuff and just kind of just listen to what Sasha and Marcy told her to do.
yeah,
And like I don't know, I kind of like having this kind of story where you have someone like well, we kind of get like an exploration of that a bit. Even Twigs telling her like, no, like don't follow the crowd, do your own thing, don't watch a cursed video that, you know. So I don't know. That's always like such an interesting part of this episode, like that we kind of get that like that pass of Anne. So yeah. And you kind of keep going through the episode, like Twigs congratulating Anna of like not like succumbing to like what's popular, doing their own thing, having their own agency, right? But of course, eventually Anna doesn't listen and hides in between the uh the vending machine, which I don't know. I always thought that was funny, like the fact that she even has to do that in the first place. Like she doesn't have to; she could just go to another hallway, whatever. Like, or just go to, like to the bathroom or anywhere. But she decides just to hide in between the vending machine and the locker. So
I just love how she freaks out someone just trying to get like a snack, right? Because she's like, man, because she's like weird. This video has 0 dislikes, and she just like falls out of the vending machine from the
it
corner.
scares the
Scares,
little girl.
yeah, scares a little girl. Just like weird. Like, they're just staring at each other. She's walking away. They're just staring at each other. Holy shit! I never noticed that.
Yeah, and like even like when I just want to mention like Anne on the phone, like he's like reacting to the video, like she gives a comment, best video, like cutest video ever, and like I don't know, I always just find it interesting with this video, like with this episode, where like the whole point is to like dislike like the video itself, and now we kind of live like YouTube has dislikes now, but like or doesn't really have it now in the sense of like you can't see the number, so it's like
Yeah.
I don't know, I just find that interesting, like this episode pretty much exists like in real life now, essentially. I mean, since you can't see the number, so it's like I don't know. I find that neat.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And like, what is it? What is it? Yeah, like she scares the little girl, which again, Nick, you mentioned that's very funny. And then we kind of cut back to the school, and I'm assuming it's lunchtime. She's in the cafeteria. I love Anne's like little like What did she even say? Hold on. Like
It's like it was
a
a
little
cool
song,
song.
like yeah.
Let me see. She was like, "Oh yeah, gonna eat my sandwich into a square because if I spit along the edges, then I don't have to share." Like that's genius, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Like,
like
yeah, I wish I realized it when I was a kid. Like when it came to sharing food.
yeah. And I think like at least for me, like I don't know, like I always just find that neat because like Anna was always a person who like really wouldn't say no to stuff if she didn't feel comfortable with it. She kind of just let stuff happen to her, like with Sasha and Marcy or whatever. Like
Yeah,
if there was something she didn't like, she would just kind of just let it slide. But like Anne wants to say no to Sasha, like when she's manipulating her, or like, but she would just go with it anyway. I just think that it's interesting that like Anna is just like she's actively trying to stop people from asking her for like her food and stuff by eating it on the sides, you know? I don't know. That's just like again, I feel like this episode or this part of the episode kind of tells you a little bit more about Anne's character. Like even like the part where, like I know she's joking a little bit, but like people would say like if people say I'm not talented, like who the hell said that? Like very rude. Like
It's like, and they said I couldn't write realistic dialogue or something.
yeah, like when she's like
I don't
licking the
remember
balls.
that. I remember that. I remember that specific part just because it was like probably the funniest gag in the episode, in my opinion. Or that
Yeah.
little part of the episode. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know.
and
I
it's
think
just you go pickle.
I like that this episode's probably the closest we ever got to like a pre-amphibia slice of life type of episode, just like to show what things could have been like back before. I mean, of course, it's not the same cast of like the three girls who would have been there. We've got the like humanized frogs instead, but it does feel like early season one pre-development, and it's like the environment she would have been in. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah. And like cuz this is also just a different LA in the sense of like obviously we have the spooky trees and stuff and vibe, but like you know, it's all grayed out and stuff like we've had for kind of like most of the times we've been in LA on Earth thus far. So yeah, you know, contrast to season 3 being all bright and happy with it. So yeah, but I don't know, like it's interesting like this whole scene with Anne like trying to not have people share with her or people have been calling her not talented. Like that's messed up, you know? Like she might be joking, but it's like I'd like to think, you know, maybe Anne thought that about herself, you know, the low self-esteem or lack of self-love and has
yeah,
throughout this story. You know what I mean? So it's like
you
it's
know,
joking, but it tells you something about the character, which Amphibia does that very well all the time.
yeah, I think you're 100% right here because yeah, this does feel like a story where Anne is, projecting where she is projecting her feelings that she had back in her back in Earth. Because, I mean, this is already because this is already like a story called FOMO, right? And like yeah, like Anne would like I could absolutely see Anne being like the kind of teenager who scrolls through Instagram, seeing like all these fun pics, all the people hanging out, just feeling jealous over that. Yeah, Anne would is definitely one of those teenagers, and just yeah, like it is really interesting. Like all the little comments where you can tell that Anne's sort of like over focusing on like people saying that she's not talented. Like
She
yeah,
can't write dialogue.
yeah, like it's just she's really just project. I mean, it may not be like I don't know. It may not be something like the writers want us to like overanalyze, but like I don't know. I could like totally just seeing this being like a legitimate case of Anne just projecting her feelings back from home into this.
Yeah, and it's like it's a part of Anne's character that's like kind of subtle. Like I think Matt talked about this where like Anne's lack of self-love or very low
Mm.
self-esteem. It's this thing where like it's always a part of her story, but like you have to kind of like dig deep and think about it like a little
Yeah.
bit. You know what I mean? Like that's what I kind of love about Anne. She has like this double character arc of like, she's learning responsibility. She's learning to take care of herself and stand up, like to do the right thing, take responsibility, like, and like that's great. But like then you have like throughout the whole story, Anne's like slowly learning to be like, yo, I'm awesome. I'm just as confident as Sasha and Marcy. And like it's it's nice getting that reminder of like, oh, this is kind of what Anne thought of herself as, like she didn't think of herself that highly. So yeah.
Yeah,
Um
like it's yeah, I don't. It's just really nice because I mean, you also just because yeah, Matt. I mean, sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt.
I wasn't saying anything. You keep going.
Yeah. So I was just yeah, because I feel like it was always because there always was the question of like why does Anne just let people walk all over her, like why is she so desperate to fit in, why is she like like the feeling that she's a part of something, and yeah, like it's like I feel like that was something you could point out, like maybe that she was like sort of like unconfident, like has low self-esteem, so maybe that's something you could point out back in season one, but you didn't really like you couldn't really see it until like until like we got our confrontations of Sasha, and like when Anne pointed out herself like how she didn't really like herself because she wasn't really because you can even see in Scavenger Hunt, right? Like it's really Anne's interactions with Sasha and Marcy we can where you can really see like what she might like, the problems she might have of her own, like self-confidence, and why she might be desperate at times to sort of prove herself to people, right? And it's and yeah, like that's part of why her journey for Amphibia is so important, because it does show her that she does have strengths and that she does have the ability to improve on weaknesses that she might have, and so like that's just really vital to just making Anne into a more confident and well-rounded person.
Yeah, it's gotta 100% agree with that, Nick. Yeah. It's crazy how this comes from like a small Halloween story that's like not
Yeah, yeah,
canon.
all because she was just projecting. Give her a story.
Yeah. Um, but then Hattie comes in and she's like 1 second, like they were watching video, the next Brody was gone, and Anna's like, chill out, like, like it's not a big deal, like he's probably fine. But then like, when Anna's kind of leaving the lunchroom, Hattie looks at the phone, or Brody's phone, and suddenly like disappears, and yeah, and then like we kind of cut back like to Anne's house, or excuse me, Anna's house, and then Pickle, what you said, kind of one of the funniest gags this episode, like she has like her two toys like making out, like like she's like, and they said I can't write dialogue. Like that's great. Um, and then she gets a phone call from Twig, and I think like the ringtone is like the main theme, right? Yeah, like I gotta make sure I hear it again just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it's like, yeah, it is. So it's just like a little like 8-bitty or kind of like chip tune version of the main theme. I wish that was a real ringtone. Like I don't know if it's
Hey, I mean,
TJ
like,
Hill could like, just give
yeah,
us an
I was gonna say,
excerpt.
like, yeah, maybe TJ Hill can just release that or something, because I know he's like, he's slowly going for all the season 2 episodes, so I think it's a possibility, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like even just like
Oh,
a
he's
simple
doing the
little
season
clip.
3 episodes right now, isn't he?
I
He's
think
doing
he,
both. He's doing
yeah,
like he did because he just uploaded New Normal not too long ago this week, and then he uploaded Fort in the Road and Handy Ann. So I think he's just kind of doing both of the seasons at once.
Hmm.
So maybe like let's hope so, because it is a good ringtone. Like I wonder if there's like a full version of it or if it's just like It's just like 5 seconds. I hope we get a full one though. That'd be great. Um, so Twigs, like, everyone's disappeared, but like, I know you didn't watch the video, right, Anna? And Anna's like, no, like, he's like, I'm weak, okay, like, and I don't know, like, her face when she's saying it is like, I don't know, just really funny. And then like the video starts glitching up, and she starts seeing like the video itself, and she starts, all her friends are kind of stuck in the video, including this old dude who somehow has been there for like 65 years. Like, I don't know how that's possible considering like the age of the internet, but okay. um, and then like the little cute like pet in the video starts coming out and turns out to be like this disgusting monster, like with like, I don't know, I really like its design. Like, I love the eyes. Like, one's
Yeah, I mean,
like
you
the
weren't the only one who loved the design. Like this episode didn't win an Annie. Or didn't like. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, like you're not wrong. Like about this designs being good. Like I think Joe Sparrow, but I think he's the designer. He's a designer, so right? I think he is, but yeah, he won an Emmy or not an Emmy, an Annie for it.
oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. Yeah, like I love the eyes on it. Like it has the play button and like the pause symbol like on each of its eyes. That's really cool. Like, yeah, and it's not like super scary horror, but like it's it's nice. I don't know, like they did a good job of it making like cartoony scary.
Yeah,
You know?
like I'm sure there's like a 6-year-old who'll probably get scared of this, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And like the monster's trying to eat Anna, and like eventually she figures out like she starts to insult the thing, like she's like, now I got a closer look at you, you're not like cute at all, and it gets like offended by it. And Anna gets the idea, oh, if she just like keeps disliking it, it'll like it'll eventually like get taken out. So she keeps doing that over and over again. And then eventually, like after like a combo of that, she does the final blow with a nasty comment, and it finishes it off. And I don't know, like, I mean, I guess Anne like switched accounts like every time, like to dislike it over and over, but or to keep piling up the dislikes. Or she just disliked, turned like depressed it again and disliked it again. So, um, but yeah, there's not really too much for me to say like after this point. Like I like Hattie's like after like it explodes, it has like boba like come out of it. Like I don't know. I thought that was cute. Well, kind of. Well, it's not cute. It's nasty. But like, and Hattie's like she's fully traumatized. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, God, I know it's just gross that Polly ate one of the eggs. Like, ugh.
yeah, yeah. Like she said it tasted good though. So
I don't even. Yeah. Oh God, I forgot. There's also that one dude who was trapped in there for what 35 years. Like, holy shit, man! Like,
yeah, he
yeah,
has this the saint like he has the school like shirt on too. Like like
I guess that's an old school, huh?
yeah, I guess so. And like yeah, so they leave to kind of go to this like hamburger like place. They completely don't learn their lesson from like they shown previously. And out of the eggs comes like more of those like nasty monsters, and then like the story ends from there. And so, yeah. Um, I'll just keep going on with the episode and just But yeah, but like, unless you guys have anything else to say about about the episode, we can just keep going. Okay. So like, we cut out the episode, and Anne's phone rings, and it scares the planters and the planters. Because of the story she just told. It turns out to just be a alarm for Wally's birthday, which I feel bad for Wally, man. Like his birthday's like on the shut-in. No one gets to celebrate it with him. Like, yeah. Um, I think then Polly kind of makes this joke, like keeps that recurring joke of like she keeps mentioning episodes that already happened. She's like, I got a good story. It's called Children of the Spore. You already know what that is.
I'd listen
You
to
know.
Polly retell Children of the Spore.
I would too. I feel like she would make like she would definitely have like an abridged version of it. Like I'm not
I
sure
think she
what.
would. I think she would just recall the events in an entirely different way than they actually happened. She'd like
Yeah, she
frame
was.
herself as like she'd like come in with boom shrooms and save everyone at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't tell it the same way because like she was like zombified, and she doesn't even know about like Hop Pop talking to like Apothecary. So it's like Apothecary Gary. So, but yeah, and then we kind of go to like the next story, which is Hop Pop's story, Dead End. Um, and like Dead End's pretty neat because again, like we kind of go back to the past here with Hop Pop's past. And we get to see Hop Pop with this big, like, luscious hair. And like here, like he's not like a farmer right now, but he's kind of like I guess like a chariot driver, kind of helping people travel where they go. Pretty much a cab driver in our world, so essentially. And on his travels, uh, he meets this very strange frog. He seems a little suspicious. A little pot, played by George Takei, and like, yeah, that's just George Takei is a very legendary actor. And like I feel like Thumb would have more to say about this than me. So, but like he adds a lot to this episode. That's all I'll say. It's great. And like throughout kind of like each of Hop Pop's visits to like Little Pop wants to like hide, like not hide, but like take a stop at each of these houses, and coincidentally everyone keeps dying when they get there, and Hop Pop eventually kind of connects the dots together, but kind of a little bit too late when Little Pop is essentially like our Grim Reaper. And his last stop is the planter farm, and he does the most despicable, diabolical thing ever. He takes away Hop Pop's hair, and it's just it takes it for his own. And the story ends from there, and that's Dead End. And and like I guess like Nick, what are your like kind of general thoughts of this story?
Like, I feel like, yeah, this is out of the three stories, like this one's like easily my favorite. Like okay, I feel like Hop Hop, God, like I feel like he's probably the funniest character on the show, dude. Because I mean, I feel like it's like the vanity, like the pride. Sometimes, like it's just like it's just everything. Because like it's fun to see Hop Hop fail because he can really be prideful sometimes. Like, and I don't know that sounds mean, but like, yeah, the fact that like I feel like they set it up so well that you never do feel too mad about it, and I don't know. Like, there's just so much I love about this part. I mean, I feel like this is the one out of the three that actually chilled me to the bone. Like, there's just something about the idea of death, just like I don't want to go too honestly. Yeah, I won't say too much about the episode so we can like have more things to say about it. But yeah, it's just like really just good all around. Like George Takei, like he really brings it here in this role. Like he does not mess around, and it's just it's just really great.
Thank you, Nick. Pickle, what are your like thoughts on Dead End?
Uh, Funny as hell. I like I like that I like that they kind of made fun of Hop Hop for losing his hair. I mean, it's like mean in a good humored way. And of course, like the twist ending being that it's not some like he dies horrifically thing. He just like loses his hair sort of ending is pretty funny. Also, the design of was it Mr. Littlepot or
Yeah.
what's it? Yeah,
Yeah, little
Mr.
yeah.
Littlepot. His design is just really fun, and I know he's a non-canon character, and like so he's like forever bound to being a one-off. But he's like Bello, or it's just one of those one-offs where it's like a fun character, cool design. It would be cool if we could see more of them in some alternate universe type thing, or like a spin-off or a little chibi short.
100%. Like they're just, I don't know, they're just great. Like George Sakai, their design, like what they are, like it's all just on point.
Yeah. And like thank you, Pickle. Um and like for me, like I don't know, man. Like Dead End is like I really like this one. Like I love the joke of Hot Pop's hair and like that was like the ultimate loss like of the episode. Like I think that's great. Um I think like George Takei really adds like a lot here, just like yeah, like I'll go more into detail about it, but like this episode is like not episode, damn it. This story is really funny. Like I just kind of love like the the horror aspect is still there, but in the sense of like it's used for comedy, and it's like I don't know. It just I really like this one. This one was fun. So kind of getting to like the story itself, like Hop Hop explains like he was a wagoner, and in his youngster days he had like this awesome, beautiful, luscious, amazing hair, and Anne tells him to like stop describing it. But then like he meets Little Pot on his way down, and this guy's a little creepy, but like, roll with it. Pop Pop kind of, he's being like a good driver. He's like, if you're not satisfied with the ride, like you don't gotta pay, like being good about it. And Little Pot kind of gives him like this weird like list of places he's gotta go, but it's like, okay, like again, Hop Pop's just rolling with it, and like like I love like I forget the name of the person who is sick, but like let me try to go back here just for a sec. Just want to be accurate. Old Man Hopkins. There we go. And I think like he has like red leg, and like I don't
Yeah.
know. That was like that's cool to me that like they could have made up some random illness that we don't know about, and like it would have just worked. Like they could have said like frog flu or something like that. I don't know. But like I love that it's like I love that it's a illness we know in the show. Like we've seen it somewhat, like not fully. Um, but like
It's
I think it was
also
contained.
like a real. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, Pickle, you can go. I wasn't saying much.
It's also like a real life disease in amphibians. It's like an infection.
Wait, really? I thought it was just
Yeah.
made up. Oh, huh. The more you know. I did not know that. Like, okay, huh. Okay. So like, yeah. So like, he has red leg, and little pot kind of comes in, and like, he's like, he won't be around for much longer. It's like, okay, it's a little suspicious, but like, he goes in, and like, he comes out, and like, you don't know exactly what happened, but you kind of get this vibe that something's wrong. Like, like, and we kind of go to the next house, and like, there's this snake that kind of comes in, like, into the house. It's very venomous, the Hot Pop says, and Hot Pop wants to warn the family, but it looks like Little Pot's got this, like everything seems to be okay. And then, like, as soon as like Little Pot like gets in, there's a scream, and then and then he's back into the carriage, and at that point, like Hot Pop is like, all right, like, like he doesn't want to keep doing this anymore. And like, I don't know, it's a small story, but like I like that progression. It's very like, it's not slow, but like you already, it's a horror story, so something's up. But like, I really like, this is a solid progression there of like each like house they get to, like it gets more and more like there's something wrong with this guy. But like, I don't know, it's just, I think like writing wise is just cool. I'm not sure how to describe it, but like, it's good pacing. There we go. It's good
Like,
pacing.
yeah, they just build up like the intrigue of like what's going on with Little Pot like really well because it's just like the thing. Yeah, yeah, that's what I really do like about this episode. Just like that's, I mean, I can't really call it slow burn because this isn't like a very long story, but like
Yeah.
it's that slow, gradual build up where like I feel like when I watched this the first time, I instantly knew what was up just by you know what I mean, just by its design. Like I had a feeling what was going on here. Like it's so I think like the build up they have to the reveals is really done well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Nick. And like, yeah, that's that. I think you said what I was pretty much thinking, but like 10 times better. um, and like, I like the way like Hot Pop is like there's something wrong with you, bro, and like, like, well, not something wrong with you, but you killed those people. And then like Little Pot's like, nah, man, I'm just doing my job, I'm just sending them where they gotta go, like, just like you are, man, like. And Hop Pop just kind of settles with that answer. I just find that funny. Like he's just like, okay, I guess, and then just he doesn't like it, but like he just keeps going on with it for the money. But then as soon as he mentions like, as Hop Pop realizes, oh my god, like he's coming to my house, like
Yeah.
he starts begging for dear life, like, and like I love the scythe, like the fact that like the metal part comes out of like the bird's beak. That's so cool. Like,
It's
It's
very
all
animated.
down. Yeah. It's all around just a really awesome design.
yeah. And like, little little Pot's about to slash at him, and he does. And you think, oh, it's GG's for Hot Pot, but like, yet he loses like the most valuable like thing of his whole life, his hair, like. And Little Pot's just having a good time. He cuts that hair off, like reveals he's bald, puts it back on, and dips. Like, Yeah, that was
He's
just like,
just doing his job, huh? Definitely no bias here.
yeah. And like, that's just great. And yeah, that's dead end. Like, and yeah, like, do you guys have any like final thoughts or anything extra to say? It's about like
I just want to
this
say,
little story.
the general idea of like a story about some like a coach who drives around death is just really intriguing to me. Like I know this one's kind of like a one and done thing, but I'd watch like a movie or a show about that. It's just a really well done idea. Really interesting.
Yeah, I fi- I forget if this is referencing something. I feel like it totally is, and like my brain is just turned off today. Like I should know it, but like, yeah,
It seems like something that could be kind of an old fairy tale.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. Like I know what you guys mean. Like this definitely does feel like when I saw this for something, like, it's definitely felt like something I saw before in the past. But I just couldn't put a finger on it.
yeah, and like I love the time element too. Like Little Pot's always looking at his like at the watch like every time, and it's like to know exactly. All right, it's their time to go. Like I just I don't know. Like there's I feel like this story could easily hold like a longer episode to me. Maybe that's just me, but it's like it's not rushed or anything. But it's like I think there's like a lot more to it that like could be explored, especially with Little Pop himself. Just like he feels like a character like Pickle, like you said. I'd love for him to come back. I know he can't, but like it would have been cool. You know, I don't know how he would have helped the resistance, but it would have been neat.
He could just kill Andreas. It'd be so easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. Yeah, he probably is the strongest character in the series, isn't
That the strongest character that doesn't exist.
he? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And like, I'll pick it. You can go. Oh, okay. So I think I'm kind of we're end off with dead end, and we're gonna continue on. So Polly, like, I love Hot Pop's like breaks. Like, oh, that was a scary. Like, that wasn't that scary. And like, Hot Pop's like, oh, you will be. Like, I don't know why. Like, and it's
Yeah,
like,
no, I always love that little part right there. Like, Hop Up's just like, yeah, yeah, you're gonna suffer my pain in the future. Just wait. Like, I love that. And yeah, then Spriggs just deadpan look as he just stares at the camera. Like, it's just great.
yeah, the expressions in this episode in general are great.
Isn't
Like,
baldness passed down like through the like maternal grandfather? Do we know which side Hop Pop's on?
That's really good. It's a good question. Yeah, like, yeah, we actually we don't know. Like, we never found out.
yeah, just yeah, and like yeah, and like going like continuing with the episode, like Polly's like, "Oh, I got a story!" Like finally, and he's like, "There's this monster that lurks in the woods. It's got like dangly legs and arms. It's got a face bump, and she's describing Anne." Which I just think is really funny because, like, while this references an episode in, in or beast, and it's like, but like in kind of a subtle way, like it doesn't mention the episode like directly. It doesn't say it by name. Well, Polly never gets a chance to say it by name, but like I don't know. I just like that reference because Anne was kind of seen as like this monster, like in the first episode, which is always a clever way. I think the way they introduced her, like so. I don't know, like bringing that into the horror element of the Halloween special is like cute, and it's a funny joke that Anne's just so offended, like by Polly's like description of her. So
Like that's hilarious. Like that's easily like my favorite part of the episode. Like, Anne's just so offended by Polly. Like she's just genuinely insulted by like that depiction of her. Like I just love it. Like it's because it's just like Amphibia pretty much actively discriminates. Like let's be honest, like Amphibia just like discriminates against Anne because she looks different, like in so many different instances, and like yeah, I don't know. I feel like with Anne, she just expected the planners to be better at this point, but nah. Polly was ready to sacrifice her, and then she would be able to tell a good story.
Yeah, like yeah. That's a good point too about like the planters should be like totally cool with Anne. And like they are, but it's like Polly is
Yeah,
very much willing to sacrifice that like that respect for Anne to tell a good story, and I think that's just
yeah,
very funny. And she's just so like annoyed, like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are so hard to please! Like, come on!"
yeah.
It's again a great running gag throughout this whole episode, and we get this Sprig story, and this is interesting because he doesn't actually like say the name of it. It's just like, which I think kind of alludes, like, I think I'll explain that during my thoughts, but like,
Oh no,
yeah,
I see what you mean. Like, yeah, I was because I was about to say the same thing. I was literally about to say the same thing.
like, but yeah, going into skin deep here, like, this is really cool. We get like a Sprig and Ivy story, and like they're playing bug ball together in the old court that we saw in Big Bug Ball game, and like Ivy keeps talking about this seamstress. They kind of throw the ball on like at this old house, and like this seamstress that she keeps talking about exists, like steals frog skin and whatnot, and like trying to scare Sprig. You know, they eventually get to the house, get the ball, and they realize like, oh my gosh, this actually could be true. You know, like they see all the dead frog skin in this barrel, and then like the seamstress appears, and it's like this disgusting like amalgamation of all these frogs, and like eventually they're able to fight it off and realize that it's actually just a glass frog that has all this that stole all this skin because it doesn't like how it looks. And then Ivy and Sprig just beat the hell out of it and dip. And then and then they burn the place down, and then like that's the end of Skin Deep. And like uh I guess starting with like Nick, what were your kind of thoughts on this story?
Yeah, I really like this one too. Like we get really sweet Spivey moments. So that's awesome. Then like yeah, I guess this one really is like the like while I got connected better with like the second one, I feel like yeah, this one it just the sheer horror of it. Yeah, it makes it easily like the scariest one out of all of them. But yeah, it's just I feel like yeah, it's also just a really great way to end off the shut in with like everything that happens afterwards. But like yeah, just all around just really fun stuff.
Thank you, Nick. Pickle, what were your thoughts on Skin Deep?
This is my favorite of the three things. Both because it's just like a really a really it feels like a it feel the other two were kind of I don't know the way I say it. It actually sounds like it's a bad part of it, but I like that it's kind of more to the cliche side of horror stories. You know, kids go into a house they're not supposed to be in type thing. But it's like it's fun to have those sort of cliches pop up in like horror episodes. Just be like, oh yeah, I know this one. It's gonna be some kind of horrible monster, and it does turn out to be a horrible monster. And I also really like just the general concept of like this frog who wears other frog skins. It's like horrifying. If this wasn't a kids show, like this would be like an actual horrifying concept. And of course, they portray it in a way that's still like fun, scary, but you know, cartoony scary, where it's not going to be giving most people nightmares. And I don't know, I just genuinely just enjoy the vibes of the episode, and it does feel like at least Ivy kind of goes through some development here. Of course, it's all non-canon development.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny how like it sort of goes full circle in the finale when she takes off her hoodie and like, starts like letting her hair just run free, but it's like
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I want it to be canon. I want honestly. I think that I'm gonna say that interaction is canon in my head. Everything else is non-canon.
Yeah, and like thank you, Pickle, for your thoughts. And like yeah, I think this is like, in my opinion, like the best one visually. I think like the monster we get in this one is just so grotesque and it's awesome. Like I like Amphibia kind of going this, like Amphibia has been disgusting, of course, but it's like it has a really just great horror element to it. I love the Spivey like interactions. That was so much fun. Like it's a lot more fun than I remember it being before. Like maybe because we got Spivey as an episode that like that it made me appreciate their relationship a little more. You know what I mean? But like it's cute. I love their interactions. Like I love Ivy like liking herself with her hair. Like that was awesome. Like yeah, this story slaps. So it's great. Um, so going into like the story itself, like we kind of see like Ivy and Spray kind of like playing bug ball and just like I don't know, I just love them playing this like the show referencing Big Bug Ball game again. Like that episode always feels like so like not super essential, but it always makes Wartwood feel a lot more of like this more like tight knit place when we can keep referencing stuff like this, even from smaller episodes like Big Bug Ball Game. Like it's just a normal
100%.
sport.
Yeah.
I mean, in Sprig play, like I don't know, it's just there's something cute about that. It's yeah, I think that's just great.
Yeah. Like it definitely makes you yeah, it definitely gives these episodes like a feeling that they're more than just random one-offs. They actually sort of like connect into this world that they have here, and just bringing that back was just a really nice detail.
Yeah, and like yeah, it's just great. It makes Wartwood feel like this more tight knit place and community as a whole. It's awesome. It's just good world building too, just in general. Like yeah, but like Polly like intercepts Sprig shooting it in. I like that he actually got good at shooting too. Like he was actually about to get it in, even though like Ivy slapped it away. Like it was actually a shot he was gonna make it in. Character development. He was ass at like big bug ball game like in that episode, and then he actually got his like the winning shot. So like he's actually good at shooting now. So yeah, and like Ivy slaps the ball away, and it kind of gets launched into the forest, and she kind of loses her hat, and she feels like a little insecure about it, and like I don't know, that's always such a great part of Ivy's character. Like it's cute. I don't know, like in Sprig's like I like your hair. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
like that's great. And like Ivy and Sprig are like, let's go get the bug ball. And they're kind of like Sprig is like really scared and Ivy keeps trying to scare him like this the seamstress like boo the whole time and and like I don't know like I find it funny that Sprig like complimented Ivy but then Ivy's just messing with Sprig the whole time like she knows he's scared like he just keeps like going with it like I don't know like it adds to the horror element too but like it's great. And like yeah that's it, she's just over exaggerating to scare him and like they see that there's a cracked window, so they assumed, oh, like the ball like went through there, and they kind of walk to the house, kind of classic, like I guess like I think Pickle, you kind of mentioned this kind of classic, like the kids go into a haunted house they're not supposed to go into, right? You
Yeah.
know, like classic tradition, and like they go into the house and it's like Sprig is getting like scared of the smallest things. He's getting scared by a bunch of like needles and thread. And like Ivy points out, like that's a very like simple thing, even though it does look like it has kind of blood on it, right? Like
I don't remember actually the.
it looks like, hold on, I'll send a screenshot. But like, yeah, the needles kind of look a little bit like they have like slight, at least like some reddish like liquid on them, and it's like I don't know, like it's not supposed to scare us, obviously, but like it adds to kind of Sprig's like terror, and just the Halloween aspect in general.
Yeah, I can see what you mean there. They got away with it.
Yeah,
I guess
and
it's a
like I
Halloween
was,
episode. It's supposed to be scary.
yeah, I mean they had to use like, well, it's not like super red, so it's like obvious like that it's blood, like with something like if like if Darcy gets like a cut on her face, like they have to make it green. Like that's a little different, you know what I mean? But here it's like more subtle, so I guess SMP was like, okay, I guess go for it. So they kind of slowly like so Sprig and Ivy are kind of walking through, and they see the bug ball on the barrel. I don't know how they didn't see it like as soon as they came in, but it's standing right there in the middle of the room. And then Sprig runs, like grabs the barrel from like jumps on top of the barrel, and it falls down, and they see all this like disgusting like frog skins out of the barrel, and like that's already horrifying in and of itself. And I think like that's when Sprig and Ivy start kind of connecting the dots of where they're at, and then the seamstress finally reveals itself, and it's like this disgusting amalgamation of all these like frog skins and stuff, and goddamn, this design's awesome. It's yeah, it's just great. Like I'm looking at it now,
Yeah.
it's uh like I'm not even sure if that's like, I'm assuming it's frog skin, but like it looks so big, it kind of looked like, well, like the biggest head itself, I'm assuming are just three heads put together with like a mouth that kind of works. I don't know how it's moving its mouth, considering how small the frog itself is, but it's yeah, it's just awesome. um
100%. Like it's just so incredibly freaky. Like my God.
yeah, and it's like yeah, like that's pretty much all. I love like I think like what I love about it too is just like the sewed on mouth. Like it feels like it, the design is so good that like it's a mouth, but like it's not supposed to be technically. Like it's just like a bunch of stitches like just put on together that just kind of ends up
Yeah.
being a mouth,
Yeah.
but like it's great. And I love the arm is like the forearm, and like the the arm is two different parts. It's great. Like it's so cool. They did a really great job designing these monsters, and I think this was like the best one by far. Like it's so nasty. And like it starts saying like frog skins, like, and like they fight it off a little bit. Ivy got like some, he's got some kicking skills. I was gonna say karate, but like that's generalized martial arts. So, but like she's got some moves,
Yeah,
and then
those lessons from her mom finally paying off. Or I guess they
yeah,
haven't yet, have they?
I
Have they
I
had?
guess
Yeah, no, yeah.
not. No, they haven't. That's weird because like it feels like a thing. Yeah, she would get from her mom like after Ivy on the run. Like. But I guess you could say this episode happens whenever, so you could technically say like if you wanted to roll with it, but I don't know.
I think Matt said it's non-canon, so it's nowhere and everywhere. But if you were to place it anywhere, it would be after Return to Wartwood.
Yeah, which is like its placement on Disney Plus too. So
Yeah,
yeah, but like they're finally able to get the skin like some skin ripped off of it, which it's dead skin, so like there's no like liquid or flesh, but that's just gross. Like, ugh. But like they rip it off, and we see it's this glass frog, which is a frog that like you can see through its skin, and like which is like kind of a horrifying image of it itself too. But like I don't know, I felt more shocked about the skin part than it is about the glass frog. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sure what it is. Like you see all the organs and stuff for it and everything, which is pretty gross. But like I don't know, maybe because glass frogs are like a real thing, I don't really like.
I think it is.
Yeah, it is. It's like, yeah, that's the frog it's based upon. So like, I'm not like super scared. I don't know, but it still looks cool though. So you see, it's a glass frog, and it's like, "Don't look at me!" Ah! And Ivy's like, like Sprig doesn't get like why it's so scared, and Ivy's like, "Oh, I get it, because it's like it steals other frog skins because it's like afraid to be in its own skin. You have like this heartfelt, like, oh my gosh, like they finally understand the frog and they're gonna make peace. We're gonna have a happy ending. Like, let's go." And then Ivy's like she goes like, "Spring now!" Puts it like the hat over it, like its head, and then like Sprig's like, "Let's burn this place to the ground," and then tosses the lantern like down, and
Yeah,
they
it's just
run
great.
away. And
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's just great. Like it's just as soon as things just turn to chaos, they just start popping off. And I just like my favorite part of that is it's still how Ivy like she just quickly throws away like that moral because it's like no, the seamstress has been murdering frogs. They don't deserve any sympathy in that moment. Like no, like
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
I just love that. Like I mean, it's great. They just say fuck this, let's get out of here. Let's like no, but before we do that, let's fuck some shit up, and then they dip, and it's just awesome.
They got
Yeah,
us
like
in there, but they also have to fit the. Man, I'm forgetting the word. When it's like there's an expectation and you go against it.
uh I think that's just like I'm not sure. I mean, I just think about going
Subverting
against
expectations. That's what it's called.
bada bing. There you go. And yeah, like freaking Ivy are just gangsters, man. Like they just go in, burn the house, leave. Like, like they got their ball, right? I don't see them having it like when they leave, but I'm assuming they got it. Like, and like, yeah, like even before they even get out, like it tries to bite its leg. The story's letting you know like what they did was pretty ruthless, but like for a good reason. Obviously we know from like this thing's been killing frogs like left and right. Like you got to let this thing burn and die. And I love that Ivy uses the hat. Like she is not very much willing to be like resourceful in that situation to like save herself. Like I don't know, that's just awesome. Like she's not willing to be like, oh, I don't know, I don't want people to see me with my hat. Like no, she's just like without my hat. Like she just uses it, like covers up like the frog and then runs away. And I think she doesn't even get her hat back. Like, well, obviously she gets it back. You know, she has another one in her house probably. But like, I don't know. That was just awesome. And like, they run off, and like, Sprig's like, "You look good with your hair," and like, Ivy like gives him a little kiss, and then they run off, and that's like, that's dead end. And like, yeah, I just love this story. I think it has like the best kind of like horror element to it, just in general, and like, I love the design of the seamstress. I love both the glass frog design and the skin design. I love the Sprivey stuff. It's awesome. So if there's like, you guys have like any final thoughts like on this like episode or on this like story?
Yeah, like this one. Yeah, I guess there isn't really. Yeah, there isn't really much else I have to say. That I haven't had on Ray, but like, yeah, just all around really good horror stuff, really good Sprivey stuff. Okay, I know it's I still consider, honestly, I still consider all the Sprivey stuff canon, even so it's technically not canon. But like, come on. There's so much sweetness in here that you just have to like, and they don't even really get a date episode anyway. So like, I'm looking at this as canon. Like you heard it from here, Warwick Gazette from Nick. This is canon. But yeah, just all around really fun part.
Thank you, Nick. And like, yeah, like I think that's the cool thing about this episode too, is that you can kind of just like, it's not canon, but like, I mean, personally, like when I was watching the episode, I didn't even think about that. I mean, I didn't even know it wasn't canon because I didn't have that information. So, but like, I was just like, again, like, oh, cool Halloween episode. I thought it connected to it because the way they like with Ivy in her hair and stuff. I don't know, like it was just nice to get more Sprig Ivy development in general. And yeah. Um so I think we're done with Dead End. Unless Pickle, you have anything to add to it.
Um, I think basically everything's been said here. It's great segment. As part of a great episode.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And like we come back to the planter home, and I love like the amount of questions. Like Sprig had like the most successful story, you know, and like I even forgot to mention this, but like the way like Sprig tells the story almost makes it seem like it actually did happen. Like he doesn't even have a name for it. Like the name just sort of just pops up, you know, and like you get that vibe in the sense that the planters are asking a bunch of questions. Like, didn't like Ivy get bitten? Like, was any of those
Yeah.
frog skins like my friend Gabe? Like from Hot Pop? Like, it's great. And like they get a knock on the door and they're wondering like who the heck that could be. And like it turns out to be like Ivy in like a frog skin suit. And I love the Sprig and Ivy working together like to really scare the family. Like that was just great. And Ivy's like when she comes in or she leaves, she's like, they're like, don't look at the blue moon. Ivy's like, I can't see a thing out here. And she just runs in one of the like the scarecrows with the mask on and just keeps running and laughing. Like that's funny. Like and like, you know, after that, Hot Pop and you know the family don't see Polly. They're like, where the heck did she go? Like and Hot Pop's like, oh my god, did she look at the go out to look at the blue moon? Oh no! And Anne's like, you're overreacting, Hot Pop. Nothing happened. And then there's a note right there that explicitly says like, no, she did exactly what what Hot Pop said. Um, and like they go outside, you know, Hot Pop makes sure to get an umbrella, and we see Polly like looking at the moon, like we're like, oh my god, oh no, and then like she's doing this maniacal laugh, hoping something would happen, and then nothing happened. I love Polly's expression here too, by the way, like her whole like maniacal like laugh, like that's an emote right there. It's great. And then like Polly Sack, she wasn't able to get an original story, kept stealing from the show, like every time. But Anne's like, gives her like a little comfort, like you looking at the blue moon was like scary enough, like, or this kind of the whole family gives her comfort. And like Anne's like, I got chills, dude, and then they walk away, and then you get like Polly like all of a sudden starts like growing like super big, muscly, like hairy, like arms. I was about to say legs. No, they're just big, like werewolf arms. I was gonna say gorilla arms too, but like, nah. And like, she turns into this were tadpole. I love the design too with it. It's great. And then like she starts walking in and rampaging through the planter home, and then we see like all the monsters from all three stories start laughing, and then the episode ends from there. And like that's and like one more thing, like there's a it's like after the with the credits and stuff are a little different too this episode. You have like the season 1 credits, but this time you have like Anne and Sprig like dead as skeletons, which is really morbid. But with like Anne's phone cracked and stuff too, like it looks kind of like a dark ending of like a video game or something. Like you got the bad ending or whatever.
Yeah, that's always just God. Like, it
Yeah.
always hits me hard. I don't know why, but yeah, it always hits me like a truck whenever I see that. Like, it's just terrifying, man. Like the thought of them just dying in such a vicious and disgusting way like that. Ooh.
Yeah, and it's like because Anne's like, and she's like only they're kids, so it's like ugh, seeing like their dead bones like on the like yeah.
Is this a bad time for me to mention how funny I thought it was?
No, it's not. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I didn't find it funny. Well, I thought it was nasty, but okay.
It's like it's the season 1 end credit, but it's like morbid.
Yeah, they're just dead.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, and like, and I also think it's nice because season 2 we've had like this whole time with like we've had like the season 2 end credits with them traveling around. It was cool to kind of get that callback to season 1, especially since like kind of like Anne and Sprig like at Wartwood kind of makes more sense. Like this ending credit, not them being dead, but like just like them being Wartwood kind of makes more sense considering we're not traveling anymore. They still keep the season 2 end credits like in Wartwood, even though we're not moving around. So we don't even use Bessie after like return to Wartwood. So it's like, yeah. And I think like with that's the shut-in, and like I think like you guys want to get, I guess like Pickle. What are your like final thoughts on like the shut-in as like a whole episode?
It's a really fun episode. It does a good job of being a Halloween special, and it kind of also does a good job of like exploring maybe some episode ideas that are just fun to have a one-off on, but maybe didn't have enough or there wasn't enough space to give them full episodes. So this is kind of a way to see more stories that weren't told and also kind of enclose them in another story itself. And it had some very funny moments and a lot of very good character design, I noticed. And just good episode overall. Enjoyable. It's not super connected to the plot, and I mean it's not canon, but it doesn't need to be to just be an enjoyable episode.
Thank you, Pickle. Nick, any like final thoughts on the shut-in?
Yeah, I mean, I just agree with what Pickle just said. Like, yeah, it's non-canon. It doesn't like exactly push the plot forward, but like it's still just a really fun episode for you to sit down and watch and just yeah. I feel like honestly, just popped into my mind. I know like last recording I said like A Day at the Aquarium was a good episode to show someone again to the Amphibia. I feel like, yeah, this is another one of them. The Shut-In, like they're not really like massive spoilers to show off to someone. Like it's an episode where like I feel like if you just find it funny, and I think this is a really funny episode, and you just like how the characters interact, you can like definitely just think, I want to see some more without like the risk of spoilers. So yeah, I was like, no, I'm just turning this around to the audience, but like I feel like the Shut-In would be a good episode to show off to someone if you want to get them hooked on the show. Yeah, that's all I
Yeah,
have to
I
say.
can. All
Yeah.
right, thank you, Nick. And I think that's a really good point. I feel like in terms of like episodes to get people hooked on the show, it's like obviously I could tell them the first episode, but it's like I think this episode's cool because like you get like a sneak peek of kind of all the characters and all their kind of like major dynamics and stuff, and like you aren't affected in any way, like you aren't hurt by like not watching like the rest of the show. Like I can't give someone like Sasha's my favorite character, but I can't give anyone a Sasha episode just to watch their first one because it's like, yeah, like, but like this one, I can like just toss at somebody and be like, "Yo, watch this, it's fun." And be like, "Okay," and then like it, and then like want to see more of these characters. And I think what's great too is that it's just on all 4 planters, so it's like it's not like it gives you a good idea of all their characters like relatively quickly, And like I guess just my general thoughts. Yeah, I love the Shut-In. It's super fun. I think Pickle, I definitely agree with you on the character design part. Like I love all the monster designs. That was really cool. And I think these stories are cool because it's like they also still kind of give you a lot to these characters with being a non-canon episode. I think like Phone Mode gives you a lot of an idea of Anne's like kind of low self-esteem, lack of self-love, kind of working with the crowd all the time, not really believing herself or taking charge. It kind of projects she's projecting your feelings in the story, but like it's very subtle, but it still gives you like something to chew on for the character. I love like Little Pot and like George Take's voice in general adds so much like in Dead End, and I love the Sprivey dynamic in like Skin Deep. It's really cute. It's really does something nice for Ivy's character. Its development in a non-canon episode. Don't know how that works, but you could say it's canon. I mean, and work with it. And like it's just I love like the Shut-In. It's really fun. And if you're in the Halloween spirit, like turn on this episode and it'll be a grand time. And like I think that's it for us tonight. And I think next episode 63, will be Night Drivers and Return to Wartwood next week. So I'll see y'all then. Say goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
Thank you, and see you.
Peace, y'all. Stay safe out there.